Okay guys, so today we're going to talk about animals! We're going to talk about animal upkeep. We're going to talk about different aspects of animals. I'm very sorry about the watermark that was on the last video. I am going to upload a redone version without the watermark as soon as I can afford the program that I use to make it. And once I get that program, I'll be able to take the watermark off of it and re-upload it, and I'll probably leave both of them up there, but I'll make the watermarked one private. So we're going to talk about animals, and I have a cat and a dog, so I understand the upkeep of both of those, but things I don't understand is like upkeep of birds. I used to have birds, but I didn't really upkeep with them. I was a lot younger when we had them, and upkeep of like lizards and geckos, and those are things I don't understand. But what I'm here to talk about is the upkeep of animals in general. It's gonna be car vlog number 5. Whoop whoop. Okay, so I was thinking about this, and my cat is a lot more upkeep than my dog is, or has ever been. Dogs, yes, you do have to groom them. You do have to clean out their fur of burrs if you live in the country area, which I do. And you have to feed them and water them, and get them like a place, and you have to let them out to pee and potty. Then that's pretty easy, relatively. Cats, however, you have to give them a place to pee and potty. You have to clean that place of pee and potty. You have to feed and water them, and they kind of groom themselves. But I feel like the upkeep of changing out a litter box is a lot more effort than putting into a dog. Now, in this case, I only have one cat and I only have one dog, so I am not the forefront of everything. I'm not the final word, but I definitely think that a cat is a more upkeep than a dog. Another thing I think about when I think about, animals that have a lot of upkeep, I feel like birds have a lot of upkeep. Keeping them in their cage, letting them fly around, keeping them away from your other animals that might eat birds. If you do have other animals, that just seems like a lot of effort to keep a cage clean. It seems like a lot of effort to feed them every day. You have to feed them, give them water, keep their cage clean, let them out. And yeah, it's kind of the same with every animal, but I feel like birds are a lot of, they molt and then they can't fly for a little bit, and then, there are ones with clipped wings, there are ones that need special, spots. And the same thing with like lizards and snakes. Like, having a heat lamp costs so much money. I had a friend who had a, I don't know what it was called. It was a large lizard. It required a heat lamp, and heat lamps, the electricity on heat lamps gets really, really expensive. And on top of that, their air conditioning broke this one time, and their house was just hot. Like, the entire apartment was just a ball of heat, because not only did they have that heat lamp going, but they had like fans blowing around, and they had all this stuff like trying to cool down the house, but their air conditioning was broke, so they couldn't, which really, 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 really sucked. I feel like lizards have a lot of upkeep in and of themselves. They eat bugs, which is kind of nasty, and they shed, and it's just really rough to upkeep with a lizard or a snake, or really any of those kind of reptilian kind of animals. Okay, so another thing I want to talk about is giving responsibility to young kids. Like, I'm talking like 7, 8. Do not give a puppy to a 7 or an 8-year-old. They're not going to keep up with it. Unless you want a puppy, do not give a puppy to a 7 or 8-year-old, because they're not going to keep up with it. They're not going to, you tell them to feed and water it at a certain point in the day, they're going to forget. They're going to forget to let the dog out. The dog or cat's going to pee in your carpet. They're not going to clean out the litter box, that's for darn sure. And just having a pet around, and from like a previous thing, like I own a cat, right? So if I got married and had a kid, the kid would have a cat because I have a cat, but I would be taking care of the cat. There would be no involvement with the kid taking care of the cat until he was older, or he or she was older. And I feel like 10, 11, 12 is a good time to give children responsibility, because it allows them to move forward out of that elementary state. That's when they're starting to get into 5th and 6th grade. You know, they're moving out. My high school had 7th and 8th grade in middle school, so they were in the high school at that point. And that's just right after 10, 11, you know, you get 7th grade, I think it is. And it's just I think that is the best time, personally. And I'm an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, and I don't know any better, honestly. But that would be the pinnacle point to give a child responsibility, even if it's just over a plant. You know, I think that making kids plant mom and dads is a really good idea, because if the plant dies, you know, you spent a little bit of money on it, but it's a little different that way, because if a plant dies, your kid might not be attached to it. But if your dog or an animal or a goldfish or a gerbil, you know, those things die eventually, and it's like, oh my gosh. You know, it becomes such a sad moment. Like, I had a dog die on me 3 years back. He ended up running off the porch, and his collar choked him. He was going after a rabbit, and his collar choked him, and he died on my back porch. His name was Oscar. He's a really good dog. And I was over at a friend's house the night it happened, and I was coming back, and my mom tells me in the middle of us driving home that my dog had died. And that made me so... No. I was at work that night. The time I was at my friend's house, my dog had disappeared. He got stuck on the other side of the creek while there was a big rainstorm, and he got stuck on the other side of the creek. And so that was a big ordeal in and of itself, and I was just bawling from that. But when my dog actually died, I was so sad and so heartbroken, because I loved that dog and I took care of him every day. And you know, I put a lot of effort into making sure that, you know, I didn't always feed the dog. I didn't always give the dog water. That was actually my sister's job to do. I was supposed to take out the trash and clean the house. Was basically like upkeep was kind of my thing. And we don't have chores in my house. So that dog meant a lot to me. I loved to pet that dog. He was so soft. He was so elegant. He was a golden retriever, Cairn Terrier mix. He was short and stubby, to say the least. But the night that it happened, I cried so much. But in the end, we needed to get him buried that night, which really sucked, because I didn't want to have to bury my dog, but it was obvious that I was going to have to bury my dog. And we really needed to dig that grave that night, because there wasn't going to be anybody to do it in the morning. And it was just so heartbreaking to know that my dog had died from, you know, doing what he loved. He loved to chase after animals, and it just sucks that he happened to die while chasing after an animal, you know? I've always dealt with animals all my life. I've either had a dog or a cat or a parrot or, you know, something. But I've always wanted to have farm animals. Like, you know, what's a farm animal? Like, I've always wanted to have like a cow or a pig. I always wanted to take care of a farm animal. I don't know why. I'm not much of a country kid. I did grow up in a country town, but I'm not much of a country kid, and I'm not much for, you know, showing or stuff like that. It's not my thing, but I've always wanted to own like a cow, because I think cows are cute. or I've always wanted to own a horse, because I love horses, but you know, I've never ridden a horse. I've never, you know, been able to get on a horse. So it's kind of crazy to me to like people who have never had animals, you know, or people who move out of their house and never get an animal. It just kind of blows my mind. Yeah, there are a lot of upkeep, and yeah, it makes sense for a while, you know, when you're in a situation where you can't, such as like an apartment complex that doesn't allow you to have animals, or stuff like that. You know, sometimes it makes sense. Other times it's just kind of, you know, it is what it is. There are some people that don't like animals. It's a personal thing. I personally love my animals. I've got to get gas real quick, so I will be right back. Okay, so I'm done talking about animals, but I did want to talk to you guys about a couple other things. One thing is I updated my channel name. I am going to update my channel banner. I am the drive guy. I like it because I drive places and talk about things. If you guys ever want to submit like a suggestion for a talk for a day, you know, put it down in the comments down below, or you can even go follow my Twitter, which is in the description, or my Instagram, which is in the description, and I'll post a message in my story that says, you know, suggest something for my next YouTube video or something. And I really do want to get my community involved, even though you are like 10 people strong. I love it. I love doing all of this stuff. I did notice that my views went down when I went to every single day videos, so we are going back to every other day. I was planning on doing every other day anyways. I was planning on eventually moving back to it. But right now, car vlogs will happen. There's going to be one up today, there's going to be one up Tuesday, and there's going to be one up Thursday. And then every Saturday I should be able to upload a CarCast video. And if it doesn't get uploaded on a Saturday, then there's no CarCast episode for that week. And I might do that bi-weekly. I might record with a friend and then upload it next week. And then also, after this week, it'll be Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then next week will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the week after that, and it'll alternate. So I'm still filling up your week, so it still feels like I'm filling up the week, but I'm doing it every other day. And I'm really proud of myself right now, because putting myself out here like this on YouTube it's not easy. It's not easy to go out and do something that you think is fun. Yeah, it's not easy to just go out and do something and with reckless abandon and say, hey, I'm doing this. That's what my first video was. I literally put my phone down in between my wheel. I was like, okay, I'm doing this, and I hit the button. And being able to do things with reckless abandon is a beautiful thing. I just wanted to let you guys know, I honestly feel blessed to be able to do this. To be able to for my family to have the money to put gas in a car so that I can go out and drive that car and just have fun making videos. I feel so blessed. Like, I feel like God was leading me towards quitting that job anyways. Yeah, I might have to get another one, but quitting that job is what allowed me to start making videos. Quitting that job allowed me to put my phone down and hit play or hit record and say, hey, this is me. This is what happened to me. This is what I'm talking about today. And now I get to do that every other day. I just get to press play on record on a camera and say, hey, this is me. This is what I'm talking about today. And I feel like that is so God-given to me. I feel like this entire scenario where I post about CarCast and then a bunch of my friends want to be a part of it, and I post a thank you, and some YouTuber that has way more subscribers than me and doesn't even need to watch my content happened to click on my video and commented on that video, and it's been such a blessing for me to have this outlet, to have the ability to talk to however many people watch my videos. You know, my first video is up to 74 views. I didn't expect it to even come close to that, and I know I've said that so much, but when I started this out, when I hit record for the first time on my phone, I thought legitimately I was gonna flop. I thought I was gonna post this video for the heck of it and then get 10 views and then walk away, you know. But that video got 18 views in the first hour of it being uploaded, and I had never gotten that many views in a video ever. Like, I put up gaming videos and they would go up for days and days, and you know, they'd get 10 views and then they would stay there, and then I'd put another video up and it would get another 10 views and then it would stay there. And you know, I do think that a lot of the help is social media, but I think 100% of my viewership comes from God. 100% of it, no doubt about it. 100% of everyone that watches these videos comes straight from God, because there's no way I would have hit that button on that first day. I wouldn't have gone out and gotten a camera like Gregory. I wouldn't have gone out of my way to drive right now. Like, I don't necessarily love driving. I do now, because it allows me to have my outlet. You know, it allows me to be on YouTube and have this thing that allows me to talk about whatever I want, basically. And I do have to give 100% of the viewership to God. This entire YouTube channel is 100% because of God. All the updated thumbnails, updated thumbnail, the like really nice one that I did it in church. I was in the back, I was working on sound, and I did it in church. I made it during church because I'm leadership in my youth group, and I was on the soundboard, and at that point we had stopped. There was no music, there was no nothing, and I had taken the time to make a new thumbnail basically. And it's just such a blessing to me to be able to do this, because there's no way I'd be able to do this without God. It's car vlog number 5. I know it ended up on a little bit of a more somber note. I'm very sorry about that. You know, try to be more peppy sometimes. It's not happening right now. If you'd like to subscribe or like what you see, button's right here, and then over here is a video that YouTube suggests for you. Catch you later.